Hey guys, it's Lyra here from Lyra Scotch. So today we're going to be doing a book summary of the book called The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell. This book is so close to my heart, no joke. This is one of the books that really got me into wanting to read nonfiction books. I was a hardcore fiction reader. I wanted to read Harry Potter and fantasy novels. I had no interest in learning or nonfiction until I encountered authors like Malcolm Gladwell. This guy knows how to spin stories, but still present information to you that's actually going to benefit you in your life. So this book is all about how ideas spread, how ideas reach a tipping point or a critical mass point where they just go viral and just become an epidemic and mainstream, and everybody knows about this product, this idea, or this person even. He explains the whole phenomenon of how that actually happens. And we are going to go through the 5 crucial factors that cause ideas to spread, and they're actually quite subtle and they're quite little, as he says on his cover. The little things that make a big difference. The tipping point is identified when an idea reaches critical mass. So critical mass is a pretty common, I'm sure you're familiar with the idea of critical mass. It looks like a hockey stick graph, so I'll just put the graph here so you know what I'm talking about. At first you'll see a slow and steady rise in the popularity, and then all of a sudden, boom, it'll just like shoot up, like straight up. And that's when everybody knows about it, and it's just like it spreads in a very, very short period of time. So one example he gives is of the Hush Puppy suede shoes that became all the rage in the 90s. So at first, these shoes were kind of moderately popular. I guess only certain people wore them. But then a bunch of like hipsters started wearing them in Manhattan, and they were like, damn, look at my shoes. And it went from 30,000 sales in 1 year to 430,000 sales the following year, because it just became really popular in like hipster culture. And so that is one example of a classic kind of tipping point scenario. The first factor that influences the spread of idea, or the first few, are actually types of people. So these factors are actually types of people with certain personality profiles. So the author operates on the 80-20 rule, right? You guys know the 80-20 rule. He gives some interesting statistics. 20% of employees are responsible for 80% of a company's productivity. It's not me. 20% of drivers cause 80% of accidents. I am Asian. And 20% of beer drinkers drink 80% of the beer. I know people like this. The same goes for the spread of things. 20% of people, he says, tend to influence 80% of a final outcome of if something goes viral or not. So it's only 20% of people that are actually involved in the spread, and then all of a sudden just explodes. So the first type of person is known as a connector, and everybody knows this kind of a person. These kind of people are unique in the way that they value having lots and lots of acquaintances from different social circles and different walks of life over having close ties with friends. Because normal people, like, I don't want to say normal people, but like the majority of people only have a close circle of friends who they are in very, very close contact with, they have very strong friendships with, and that's kind of like how they operate throughout their whole life. But connectors, they just have tons and tons and tons of acquaintances, and they know a lot of different people, and they manage to stay in touch with all of these people and kind of have a bit of an influence in several different social circles. Okay, and they're known as a classic social butterfly. These people enable the spread of information and the spread of ideas through word of mouth because they are in touch with so many social circles from different subsets of life. They know people who are really rich. They know people who are really poor. They know people who party all the time. They know gaming nerds. They know stoners. You know, like all types of people. And they enable the actual spread of information to these different groups. The next type of person that's involved in the spread of ideas is called the natural seller. And yes, you guys know all of these type of people. They are the naturally persuasive, very charismatic and charming people who know how to sell the sizzle. They know how to make something cool. So you can have someone that all of a sudden comes into the social circle with a brand new watch or a brand new pair of shoes, like those Hush Puppies, and then the natural seller buys into this product, and then they're going to start naturally selling it to the friends in their groups, recommending it, bragging about it, showing all the features, just flexing with their new watch or whatever it is that's going viral. They're going to be the ones selling it to their group of friends. These people are just naturally persuasive. They know how to get in sync with you through body language. They actually found that people who are very good at selling have a very, very natural and gifted way of syncing with your body language. Whatever your particular body language is and your energy, they know how to come into sync with it and make you feel comfortable with them. And then when you feel comfortable with someone, you're a lot more likely to want to be convinced of something, right? You're not on the defense anymore. You know people like this. And the last type of person that's involved in the spread of ideas is the person who actually goes and discovers these new ideas. They are called mavens. Mavens are people who are like brainy and nerdy. They're the type of people who know many different things and they like to assimilate information constantly. Okay, they know all the new trends with products. They're the people who do price comparisons, and they know specific things about specific products. And you know these type of people who sit there and research and research and research, and they just know their shit. And if you're going to make a big purchase, that's the person that you're going to go and consult. Those are called mavens, and these people are very highly sociable, but they're just not as sociable as the connectors. But they're very willing to share their knowledge with their circle of friends, and they want to recommend certain products that they believe are really good, or certain ideas, or whatever it is. They're very open and sociable to sharing their knowledge with others. Okay, so those are the three main people that are involved with the spread of an idea epidemic. The fourth factor is that the idea itself has to stick. There has to be something catchy about it, cute about it, something that's going to make people remember it. One classic example is he uses an example of the company called Winston. They sold cigarettes in the 1950s, and they actually used a play on word for one of their slogans that caused like a little bit of a scandal. They used a slogan called "Winston tastes good like a cigarette should." So it should have been "Winston tastes good as a cigarette should." But they purposely made it a grammatical error, and I guess in the 1950s, like, that was a big deal. And so because it had that purposeful grammatical error, people were like, oh, you know, like they remembered it, and it kind of spread. And then the following year after they released this marketing slogan, Winston was the most popular cigarette on the market. So it worked. And I just want you to think about all the other slogans you know, how catchy they are, how memorable they are, and just how clever they are. Finger licking good, eat fresh, just do it, I'm loving it, taste the rainbow, right? All of these are catchy, they stick. They're ideas that stick. And the last factor is context. Sometimes it's the way that the idea is presented. It's not necessarily the idea itself, it's the context in which it's presented. So I'm going to tell you the story about the Febreze marketing. This isn't actually from this particular book, it's from a different book, but I thought it was a great way to outline this whole concept. Okay, so Febreze is obviously, like, you know what Febreze is. It basically takes up like an entire aisle in Walmart or whatever grocery store you're at, air fresheners. So the people who created Febreze are P&G, and when they first released Febreze out to the public, they marketed it as an odor killer and as something that would help you deal with the smell of cigarettes on your clothes or pet odors. So they just showed commercials of women, you know, spraying down their jacket after they went out for a smoke, or spraying down their carpet after their dog took a shit on it or whatever. And that's how it was kind of marketed, and the sales for that were really poor, and Febreze was kind of a marketing failure. So they kind of went back to the drawing board, and they were trying to figure out how to market Febreze so that it appealed to the people who were supposed to buy it, mostly women who clean their homes. And what they did was they actually found a woman that used Febreze regularly, and they followed her around and kind of analyzed how she actually used Febreze. And the way that she used it was that once she had finished cleaning her house, she went around and sprayed her Febreze around her house, sort of as a cleaning reward for what she had done with her house. So it was like part of her cleaning ritual. And they found that she didn't actually have any major odor problems. She didn't actually purchase it because she had major house odor problems. She purchased it as to be part of her cleaning ritual. So they started to release commercials where they presented Febreze in this type of way as part of someone's cleaning ritual rather than making an entire new cleaning ritual, which is just odor control. They made it part of a woman's cleaning ritual and how she cleans her house, and they kind of subtly implied that Febreze is a type of reward for having a clean house. You go around and freshen up and make your house smell good, and that was kind of the icing on the cake. Once they did this, their sales doubled within 2 months and reached $230 million a year later. So clearly this change in context mattered. Okay guys, so that was the summary of the book called The Tipping Point. I think this is a really, really excellent book. Another great gateway book for people who are just starting to read nonfiction. Malcolm Gladwell is an excellent, excellent author. He's very good at weaving stories in and out of his work and the concepts that he's trying to present. He's definitely not a dry author, so I definitely recommend him because you can get through one of his books really, really easily. If you like this summary, check out the book app called Blinkist. It is a book summary app where you can read all the book summaries of the top selling nonfiction books out there. You can read 20 books in one day if you're short for time and you don't have time to go through a whole book. You can go through this and kind of pick and choose what you want to read and literally read the main points of a book in like 5 minutes. So I'll link a 7-day free trial for you below if you want to check that out. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!